I am Buff. I am the stuff, and the girls just can't get enough. And you, my friend, are watching Buff Daddy on the Wrestling N.R.D. Broadcast. Take it away, boys.
You're watching DaveCTV. Now here's your host, the voice, Dave Canning. It's you, it's me, it's DaveCTV. It's you, it's me, it's DaveCTV. Let's start the show.
Well, hello there. It's me, Harold, the Puppet, and this is the Wrestling N.R.D. Broadcast. And boy, oh boy, oh boy, I am so excited to introduce our guest this week, hailing from Marietta, Georgia, a 5-time WCW Tag Team Champion, the American male from Stars and Stripes, vicious and delicious, the handsome stranger, the stuff, Buff Daddy, Buff Bagwell, baby, yeah. Welcome to the show, Buff.
Thank you so much, bro. What a great introduction. You did a great job, brother.
Yeah, I do my best. But in the meantime, I'm going to take a rest. I'll be back in a little bit. I'm going to have Tom be a part of this.
I want to talk to you a little bit now, okay?
Yeah, I'll be back. I love you, buddy.
Okay,
I'll
brother.
be back. Give me a little. Well, hi, Buff.
What's up, man? I like you, buddy.
Thank you. He's a good friend of mine, Harold.
With official merchandise too, just for
With
the record.
official merchandise.
He probably makes more gimmicks than I do.
Right.
That's got to
Well,
be pretty
I'm gonna send
tough.
you a shirt, Buff.
But Buff, with the arms looking like it's 1997 still, what size T-shirt are you repping there?
Well, we're TV, bro. Even back in the day, TV we did. This is a large. This is probably a large or extra large, but back in the NWO days, bro, it was mediums. You'd stretch that medium out, bro, and you looked a lot bigger when you were lean, bro. When you're lean, shirts can kind of make you, you can look kind of thin in some shirts, but I have really stayed in. I don't know how I've kept my size, eating as clean as we are. I lost 30 pounds in 14 days.
Incredible.
The next week I lost another 7, and the next week I lost like 6, whatever it is, from 268 to 226. So 40 pounds overall, I guess. Is that right?
Yeah, just about.
Yeah,
that's
42
incredible.
pounds.
Awesome.
Because
I mean, I lost
I'm
42
big, I'm
pounds
tough.
since
My
October.
chest is real big still. My arms are still big. I mean, I just lost that drinking gut.
That's it,
Yeah.
man. It's the DDPY works, and I can attest to it.
Dude, it's like, it ain't, I mean, don't get me wrong. It's as close to magic as you can really get, honest to God. And all you got to see is that altar video
Yep.
to really go with. It's literally almost magic, but
Absolutely.
you still got to do it. It's like anything else. It's not just going to happen for you. I mean, you're not just going to wake up one day and look like Buff Bagwell in 1997. You got to put some time in, but still DDPY, bro, it really is as close to magic as you can get. It really is.
It is. I started it about a month ago, and I am personally down 18 pounds. I'm not
Wow,
looking as good as
man.
you. But if you go back a couple of weeks, you see this same shirt. It is tight on there, and you put an XL on that body, and it doesn't make you look lean. It makes you look grotesque. But it now fits loose. It's comfortable, and you can get this shirt on ProWrestlingTees.com. Just saying, with the Buff Bagwell merchandise. So
I love it.
Yeah, said that DDPY. So so if anybody is ever on the fence about DDPY, you've got 2 people here who can now attest to it. It is
Absolutely, but I'm telling you, bro, it's. I mean, for real. I mean, like I said, the facts are a fact. In 14 days, I lost 30 pounds. You're talking to somebody that really wasn't here for the diet part of it.
Mhm.
But all of a sudden, the day I got here, it kind of blew my mind. And Dallas even goes, well, there's no way because with a shirt on, I looked pretty good. With my shirt off, I had like a pretty big belly. But with a shirt on, man, I looked just like I was still jacked. So Dallas didn't really notice or see my stomach through the shirt. Well, I get up on the scale and it says 268. And Dallas goes, there's no way you're 268, bro. I mean, my God, you're a big guy, but you always were jacked, but you were lean. You just look jacked on TV because you were lean. I said, I know. I said, Dallas, but I said, that scale's not broke. I knew I was about 260, but I didn't think I was 268. I think I was almost 270, but I was, man. So 14 days later, a Buff Bagwell loses 30 pounds. I mean, that's big. That tells me that it works right there.
Yep.
And the people that were here for the weight part of it, they're bitching about the food being too bland and stuff like that. And I'm like, and I'm eating everybody's food. So I'm a perfect example to people that are trying to lose weight, that eating is not bad.
Yep.
It's what you eat and when you eat it is the catch.
Exactly.
If I was going to write a book about diet, that's what it would be titled. It would be titled What and When.
Yeah.
That's the catch.
It's clearly working. Like I said, it looks like 1997, although you're playing, it's 2022, your Georgia Bulldogs are national champions. Like, can life get better for Buff Bagwell right now?
All right. Exactly, dude. It's going perfect.
I'm happy because they covered the spread against Alabama. So, go.
Oh, God. Absolutely. I was on that one, too.
Oh, man. But so this is a question ever since we found out we were going to interview you. I've been pondering in my mind. And that is American Males the greatest theme song in wrestling history? And if it's not, what is?
I've had so much fun with that. That's, for starters, have you ever seen the American Male video?
It's I mean, as a 10-year-old, I did.
It's pretty cool, bro. And they didn't show it but a couple of times ever on WCW. But it really is. I mean, the guy that did it put a lot into it. If you ever get a chance to check out, all you got to do is pull up AHA, the group AHA, and Buff. I did a video for them. Me and Scotty Riggs both did a video for the group AHA. It wasn't the song Take On Me, but it was the same group. And they, it was just a video about Scotty having a girlfriend, and I stole her. It starts off with me and Scotty playing basketball, and I steal his girl from him. But the video, the guy that did the American Male video did that one too. And it's honest to God, two of the coolest things I've ever done in my entire life. The American Male video with no words and showing that video is one of the coolest things I've ever done with it. Because with no words, that song is actually really got a good beat. The music does. The I mean, it really does got a good beat when you got a video of me and Riggs doing cool shit and throwing the football and doing the, I'm the one that convinced them that you could do the goatee, have an earring, and wear a choker and a vest with no shirt on and not be a heel.
Yeah.
And they didn't believe it. They thought, Bagwell, you can't, back in my generation and back in my era, facial hair instantly meant a heel. And then what followed right after the American Males, the NWO wearing black, beards, long hair, goatees, earrings, tattoos, all the stuff that makes the perfect heel. And we were the biggest baby faces on the face of the planet. So it was just the generation, the wrestling generation itself, even before NWO. I'm not saying I made it up or anything, but I felt the vibe was changing, and you could put a goatee on and be a baby face. And Terry Taylor believed in me and went with it. And then the American Males were, don't get me wrong, with that kind of group, that kind of tag team, you're going to get some boos. And that's why I created the Buff character, because the Buff character was cool enough that the guys didn't mind the girls cheering for me, because they dug me too.
Yeah.
Because you're trying to find something that meets the girl fan and the guy fan, And a lot of guys, I mean, to this day, I go to a club somewhere and every 30-plus-year-old dude knows I'm Buff Bagwell, and not a chick in the whole damn bar knows who I am.
Yeah.
They're just like, who's that guy? But they don't know I'm Buff Bagwell. They don't know that.
When you
But the
go to the
dudes,
club, are
the
you wearing
guys
the
do.
hat? When you go to the club, are you bringing the hat with you?
Huh?
When you're at the club, do you bring the top hat with you?
Oh God, no, dude. That's just throwing. That's like wearing a belt to a titty bar. Chris Tatanka did that one time, and I thought it was pretty cool, but he got ripped for it pretty hard. But he actually wore it to a damn titty bar. He wore his the world belt, But no, but I'll tell you, when I first started the indie thing, I'll get back to the American Male song in a minute, but when I first started the indie thing, I was going to try to lose the hat. It was too much trouble, man. The hat box and carrying, you can't check your top hat. You got to carry. So I carry that box everywhere I go, and it's a real funky looking box. It's like a octagon. If you see a hat box ever, and it really truly is a cowboy hat box. But I bought it at like a cowboy place, called Horsetown. And that's also where I found my wrestling boots. My wrestling boots are called Calvary Boots. And they come from the days of, soldiers were in the cavalry. And that's why those boots came up so high. They're kind of like horse boots. But I made them my own, and you put buff on them and put some lightning bolts, and I don't have to put laces, and I'm the smartest wrestler in the world because I don't got laces. But the American Male song, dude, it's been rejuvenated, bro. I mean, we sang at the end of our podcast, and I know every word to it still. It's a great song, dude. It really is.
I remember when I first called you, when we were working this out, you were with everybody, I guess, at DDP's house, and someone put it on the video, and everyone's just losing their shit about it.
Yeah. Did you do the meme with me?
Yeah.
That was us talking during that time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was cool. So you got a hell of a great story from that. Didn't me and Butterbean almost get in a fight?
You did.
God damn, dude, you got a hell of a phone call.
Well, the dirt sheets were talking about it this week, and I almost wanted to be like, "Hey, I was on the phone with Buff."
Man, that was great. I mean, here I am talking to this guy I'd never talked to before, and we're having a good conversation. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, I'm just doing business, sliding some dates up and returning phone calls, and all of a sudden, the crib got people. The crew, like the camera crew, they put the American Male video on. And so I tell them, hold on a minute. So I go walking into the kitchen, and they're watching. Well, in the middle of that, Butterbean goes, you look gay to me. And I said, what'd you say, fat ass? And this is, Butterbean's knocked out world heavyweight champion, bro.
He's knocked out half the world.
And Bart Gunn.
I don't care. I'm still, I got to defend myself, So he heard the whole thing. I go, and he calls Steve over, the producer, and he goes, hey, if he calls me fat ass one more time, I'm going to kick his ass. I said, hey, bro, I'm 10 feet away, and there ain't nothing but air between us, bro. I said, matter of fact, I've knocked out a few people myself. I said, so make your move, bro. He came at me. I'm sure he heard all this. He comes at me. They break it up and all that. And I'm realizing, I finally go, are you still there? And he goes, yeah. I go, man, you got a hell of a phone call here.
Can I tell you, our office, I work for an optometrist. I do the glasses, and our office closed. And I'm like, I'm just going to hang out here for a bit, in my office while I do this phone call. And I am just sitting in my office, my door's closed. I am having the fucking time of my life.
You had to be. I realized this guy just had the best phone call of his entire life.
Yeah.
And it was by pure accident and just pure timing. But at the same time, it just was what it was. It was just, it was really, really, really a really great phone call for you to have.
Yeah.
Oh, did we lose?
Hold on 1 second.
There we go. Okay.
He's still with us.
Still with us. And even with that phone call, like, you know, when you get back, how you guys ended that argument was how I think most adults wish they could act in these situations. But like the end of the phone call, well, not even the end of the phone, but the end of you and Butterbean's argument, I was alluding to it before, is you guys handled that of, hey, I don't like that you called me this. Hey, I don't like that you called me this. And like, I heard like, you know, the handshake.
You did hear me de-escalate it. I de-escalated. I said, bro, you know, I mean, I can't sit here and let you call me gay and not have a rebuttal, bro.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, well, how many times have you said that, you know, the wrestlers have called you gay? And I go, that's me talking about me.
Mm-hmm.
That's not me calling you a fat ass or you calling me gay. That's different, bro.
Yeah.
And so we actually did the fist pump and apologies. And he heard all of this. It was like, you could have made it up. I couldn't have wrote it out being better for this dude, man. It was unbelievable.
It was wild, man. It was wild.
It was.
My boss texted me. He's like, Tom, you okay in there? And I'm like, I'm good.
I'm good. Yeah, I'm way.
I am fantastic.
He tells us about this phone call, and I'm just like, oh, I can't wait to hear all the other stories he's got.
Dude,
then I took it on the dirt sheets talking about it. And I was like, oh man, it's Tom. I was like, how much did Meltzer pay you, Tom? For this?
Tom wasn't making it up.
We're the go-to source for wrestling news now. It's just we're up there with Meltzer. It's, you know,
I'm cheap. If you want the dirt, I'm cheap.
Dude, I'm telling you, I mean, I was like, I actually keep in mind he was on my headset and he was really being real professional and like not saying anything. And I finally realized, wait a minute, I'm on the damn phone. I said, are you still there? And he goes, yeah. And I went, bro, have you got your money's worth or what? Jesus, he got the best phone call in the world.
Probably.
Now we got to get
I've had it in with everybody down here too. But Dallas is so proud of me because I de-escalated every one of them, dude. And everybody now is really getting along and we're really a family. And that's the whole idea of this thing is to really care for each other and change or die. And so instead of me keeping it going with Butterbean, I de-escalated it and said, look, this is ridiculous, bro. Let's get out. Let's don't do this. And the same thing when I had a fight with a girl named Cece, like early on. And we're super tight now. She's super cool chick. And there's an older lady here that's super cool too, that, you know, we kind of butted heads too for a couple of times, but we all have had our share of changing, not just our bodies, but we're also changing our minds and thought patterns and stuff. And so, you know, it's about going through, you know, all the whole thing, you know, just getting your head clear and having everything be, you know, living with people that's, you know, you're not used to living with and realizing that, you know, thank you and respect and helping out with the dishwasher and helping out with the trash and, you know, just realizing that it's not all about you, you know, and in my life, it kind of has always been about me. And it's not because I'm really, what I call myself is, I really am like the most selfish, unselfish person in the world because I have to look like this. I've got to have arms like that. You know, because I say I'm buff. I've got to go to the gym. I got to tan. I got to make sure my goatee's cut good. But me having to do those things to maybe make people uncomfortable, I try to be unselfish as much as I possibly can so I can at least weigh out the fact that I'm way too much. You know, I try to at least I know that. And so I try to make it easier for everybody and you know, and pick up the unselfishness part when I can, because I'm having to eat 6 meals a day and, you know, and having to, you know, diet, you know, for a living. And, you know, and I was sitting there during the diet part of it, you know, and I'm eating everything in sight and losing 30 pounds. And they're like, how do you do that? I go, because I'm eating just protein. You know, you guys are wanting to make it taste better, so you add milk. And bro, I throw water at a shake and get it down because it's time for protein. It ain't about trying to make it taste good. It's about looking like Buff Bagwell. So you can't make it taste good and lose weight. You gotta change some things, and everybody's learned that. And it's been a tough thing, but everybody's really starting to settle. We're only a little over halfway of the 90s, so it's been a real not a real challenge really, because we've got through that part of it, but it was a little shaky at first. But we have all settled down, and we did it. We started a thing that I think everybody should do, and it's something good to share with you guys, even as friends. And we do a thing called I after my first divorce, I had 3 of my best friends move in with me to my house. So 4 dudes in one house, and all of us are bodybuilder, tanners, full body shavers. You know, just you know, kind of like the Jersey Shore guys. It's kind of like the GTL or whatever it's called.
Yes,
Where
sir.
I'm from.
Dude, that's kind of how we were. That's kind of how we were too. And so all of a sudden, within 6 months, we're at each other's throats. So I came up with this idea called the round table. And it's not necessarily really a round table involved, but it's like the knights of the round table, how they would sit and work out, you know, the problems. And what we do is every time I was coming home, I was hearing something negative, like, you know, Mike didn't put the toilet paper back on the little toilet paper thing, and Jamie slams the dryer door too early in the morning, and I was just hearing all kind of shit coming home from the road that I didn't want to hear. And so I said, look, guys, you know, y'all got to start writing this down, and we're going to have this thing called a round table. Well, that same day that me and Cece got an argument, I was telling Steve about this thing, and he was all about it. So we've had 2 of them. And after the second one, the first one, nobody really did it properly. Nobody really spoke up truthfully. And that's the idea. You're supposed to say, look, you know, Mike's doing this and Jamie's doing this, and, you know, You're supposed to tell the truth and work it out at that meeting. But the catch with the round table, there's got to be a judge. Well, I was the judge because it was my house. DDP was the judge of the 2 round tables we've had here, but they took my idea and did it, and it really has helped out our family here, and just has helped us all. Instead of fighting every day about something, having a round table and hashing it out with a judge named DDP, and he kind of listen, hey, look, that ain't working here, that don't fly, that kind of stuff, and, you know, kind of judging the process. And like he looked at me one day and he goes, I know, Mildred, he goes, I know he can be the biggest, craziest, you know, hardest to get along with guy in the world. He said, but I also know he can be one of the most charming, nicest guys in the world. And I see him trying. So if you're not up to trying, maybe you should think about maybe leaving, you know. And I'm kind of going, yes. You know, but really couldn't do that though. I was really going, you know, I was really going like this. Really, I was going, yeah. You know? but it's all chilled out since, and we all have fun now and laugh and cut up. And after, like when we're eating dinner, we always share what was the most positive thing we had happen today to ourselves, and we tell somebody something we're proud of that they did. Very like cool. Today T-Dog walked all the way around the house with Dallas without stopping and without having to, you know, stop for a minute. We're talking about a 450 plus pound guy that came in at 5'12", and he's really busting his butt, man. 22-year-old kid, dude, nicest kid in the world, and he was sheltered, and we're just bringing him out of his shell, and he's having a blast, and he loves us, we love him, we call him T-Dog, and everybody's just having fun now, and we're just trying to, gain our goals now. Now that we worked out our problems and we're living together and having fun, now we're trying to do the change or die part for real.
Yeah. What's like a normal day look like there?
We actually we work out twice a day, bro.
Okay.
Every day, twice a day. We do a one-on-one with the trainer here named Josh or Dallas. And then we do a group session with everybody. And I ain't gonna lie, we don't do it every day, but we do it, 80% of the time, twice a day. And sometimes even when Josh was out of town on Monday, like Cece pulled the app up and she did it on that. I did my push-ups in my room where, a push-up here is different than, it ain't just a push-up. A DDPY push-up is like you go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then you go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 down. Then you pause and you do it again. 5. So, bro, it's a big. You go and do like 5 of those, and you're completely. My chest is pumped out of my shirt. My arms are gigantic. It's the craziest thing, dude. It works, man. It's just, and it took me an hour to get that pump in the gym. So it's just a lot of good stuff that happens. But we do interviews and we have challenges. Like our first challenge was why are you here? And it was a video about why, and mine was easy. I was drinking and taking somas and partying too much, and just I was bored. Wrestling wasn't fun to me no more, and this kind of stuff wasn't fun. And it's all fun again. I even do it without my sunglasses on to let people see just how sober I really am. Like Dallas came over today and he went, I saw him looking at me. When somebody looks at you and they kind of look up at your hair if you're going bald, or if they kind of look at your arms and glance at your arms or something, Dallas was doing that to me today. And I said, what the hell are you looking at, bro? He goes, man, you look really good. And I said, dude, I appreciate it. I said, I feel great. I said, dude, I said, thank you for the opportunity, I go to my Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday I'm here Monday through Thursday. But then I go home to work, and then I got to be back here no matter if it's 3:00 in the morning. I got to be back here Sunday night. So I'm ready to go first thing Monday morning with cameras. And so we're doing interviews and stuff. But on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, I go to the hyperbaric chamber bed. So I lay in it, and you lay in it for an hour, dude. So I've gotten into these series, dude, and one of them is called Peaky Blinders.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Have you ever seen that?
Yeah.
Dude, I've watched season 1, episode 1, all the way to season 5. I'm on episode 2.
Wow.
And I'm like in this thing, bro, totally. And I'm like totally consumed with it. It's like I've never done that binge watching series thing. I never knew how to do that, I never was able to watch episode 1. And so I'm so OCD that bothers me. I want to see episode 1, season 1, or I turn it off and I'll catch some other time, and I never do.
Yep.
But I was able to really watch this from episode 1, man, and I was hooked.
Yeah.
So we just, we all kind of do our own thing. We do our one-on-ones with Josh, then we do our thing together. But we eat lunch together. We eat supper as a family together. We eat lunch together. And like Mildred's got to run a couple times. Like today, her and Cece went and got their toenails done. They got a pedicure. If I knew they were going, I'd have gone with them.
Yeah, I just had one last week.
I was gonna say you need to go.
My toes are jacked up right now, bro, from being here. But I'd have gone with them if I'd have known. But I was on the phone doing some business, and so it's really, the day goes fast and it's a busy day, but it's all productive and everybody moving in the same direction of positive, and that's the idea.
Definitely. And
Very cool, man.
it is, you know, like you hear the stories of all the success stories from DDPY, and you just hope that anybody ever that picks up that program is just a quarter as successful as those people. And dude, just like you said, 30 pounds in 14 days.
Yeah, bro. Right.
People are going to watch this interview 20 years from now. They're not going to know if it was like in 1997 or 2022 because you look exactly the same. So you look great, you feel great, you know.
Exactly. And that's the difference of how more positive I am and how much fun I'm having on Twitter, and how the Twitter fans have really taken me in. They're calling me Uncle Buff and Wholesome Buff.
You took over Twitter.
Yeah, dude. And they like teaching me bad things. Like I learned yesterday, like thought, you know, THOT. Is that
I don't know what it means really. I don't think I know what it means, Buff.
That hoe over there.
It's that hoe over there.
Wait, is that actually what it stands for?
That is actually what it stands for.
I just had like an idea of what it's meant. No. I didn't know it had like an acronym. As an acronym.
THOT. THOT. Thought is that hoe over there.
Okay.
And then there's bougie. Bougie. I learned bougie.
Ryan is the king of bougie.
Yeah.
Bougie, you say.
One of my favorites is no cap. Oh, that's bougie. No
I'm
cap.
not bald. I'm not bald. I shave. I'm like you said, a shaver. I should shave it. You know. I'm not bald.
I love it.
I don't know cap. What's that?
No cap. No cap means like straight up, bro. Like I will kick your ass. No cap.
No cap.
No cap. No cap. So I like no cap. That's cool. And then and you know, there's also two different. I've learned there's two different kind of bougies. By saying there's a bougie with a J and a bougie with a G, and one means like a poser, like you're not really bougie, but you say you are.
Oh, I never heard of that.
Yeah, so my niece taught me that one, and and then there's Boosie.
I was on the phone when you learned that one.
Yeah, that's right. You were on the phone. I learned 2 or 3. God, you got the best phone call ever.
We're like best friends now. I expect you to come over for Christmas.
Right? I mean, it's like I'm coming for Thanksgiving dinner, brother.
I don't eat meat, but we'll make you a turkey if you want.
I love it. I'm coming.
He's gonna have everyone's turkey. This is just the most educational episode ever.
Yes.
So with Twitter, I gotta go back to it because
I'm Uncle Buff. I keep saying.
So you took over Twitter, like you went from Buff Bagwell to Buff Bagwell, king of Twitter, and that's when I kind of reached out to you.
Yeah, I was on the other. I was talking to my podcast guy the other day, and we were talking. His name's Michael Long, and we're talking. I go, and all of a sudden I get a text that comes through, and it's this chick I talked to in Vegas that I know, and she goes, "You're trending in Australia right now." And I was like, "What does that even mean?" So I called my podcast guy. I go, "What does it mean I'm trending?" And he explained it all to me. I was like, "You got to be." So I'm having fun, learning, having fun, and it's just fun again, dude. It's just fun to be Buff Bagwell again, and it used to be a blast to be me, bro. I loved being me for the fans. It was fun. I could tell they were having fun watching me. I mean, when you go to a club and you got guys that are like literally taking 2 and 3 selfies with me, and me actually going, "Bro, I mean, this is the 3rd one, man." You know, I'm trying to be nice, but I'm like, "Dude, we've done 3. I mean, how many poses can I do? I'm about to cramp." You know, but it's fun like that again, and I enjoy it, and I enjoy seeing the smile on people's faces and hearing their, you know, they even like, "Is that Buff approved?" You know, they were saying that. Like, even when I went involved in the conversation, they're like, "Wait a minute, is that Buff approved or not?" If that's not Buff approved, we can't do it. No cap.
There's a new T-shirt. Buff approved.
No cap.
They made it.
Buff Bagwell, no cap.
It says Buff approved. And then the buff is for everyone was Pro Wrestling Tees number one T-shirt of the week.
Yep.
A while
Yeah.
back.
Well, that was a lot of like when you spoke out for like trans rights.
That was big for the
It
trans.
was like boom.
That was big. And dude, that was a 100% shoot, you know, and I just spoke my heart and it was just cool how everybody responded. So you know, just that really is when it kind of turned when you know, Nyla Rose is super cool chick. I love her to death. And, you know, she's, you know, and she did my dance the other day and we had my top hat on and stuff. So she's really, I love her to death.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Jeez.
Speaking of the top hat, I just have to ask because when I was watching, and I'll admit I was primarily a WWF guy back in the day when I was a young kid, but I tuned on to Nitro, and I would see you, and I'd be like, this guy's amazing because the top hat caught my attention, and so I've got to ask, how many top hats do you think you like had made over the years?
I'd say probably 10. I've sold a few. I've had a few stolen. You know, I've gone through a few. So, you know, it's been 30 something years. Well, with the top hat, probably 25, but, you know, 25 solid years with a top hat. Like I said, I tried to get rid of it when the indie thing started, and I showed up to my very first indie show. And the guy goes, "Where's your top hat?" And I go, I didn't bring it. They go, "You didn't bring it?" He goes, "Damn, man, won't you just shave your goatee while you're at it?" And I was like, "Shit, man, okay." So I realized real quick, the hat gets booked, and I come along with it.
Yep.
There it is.
So the hat's got to come with it. I mean, to this day, I walk in, and if people don't see me with it in my hand, they go, "Do you got your hat with you?" They always make sure I got my hat with me, man. So and how that happened was, I was a ball cap freak. I loved all kind of ball caps, but fitted ball caps.
Okay.
This is when no lid. This is when lids just came out.
Yep.
And they had the coolest hats, you know. And I was there one day with my second wife, and she said, the top hat was like on the top shelf where kind of all the crazy hats were that you couldn't really get to. And it was just a top hat sitting there. And for some reason she goes, "Why don't you try the top hat on?" And I said, "What?" I said, "Why?" She goes, just try it. So I put it on, and for some reason, I don't know why, dude, it looked pretty cool. And I said, "Bro," I said, I think I can do something with this. You know, bro, I got ate alive in the WCW locker room with that thing.
No.
Everybody's going, "What are you doing, you idiot?" And then I airbrushed it and put NWO on the front at first. And then my mom thought of this.
Yes.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Brilliant.
So good.
And she thought of that. And I went, "Oh my God, that's great, mother." And so I put my face on the top. And then it was, you know, then it was all the stuff like, "Hey, look, there's two of me. I'm Buff." I'd make fun of the little mouth and stuff and go, "Look, I'm Buff and I'm the Buff." It gave me something else after. I think the break in my neck is when a lot of my charisma came out, because I lost 50 pounds from breaking my neck.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I'm out there with Big Papa Pump at 260 and shredded. And that's where I came up with the overalls and the top hats. And, you know, that's where I came up with all the cool stuff. And then I just kept it as I became Buff, you know.
Yeah.
They are.
So it just kind of got created, you know.
One of a kind. I've got to tell you. So I remember going to like sporting events as a kid, and when they sold cotton candy at Madison Square Garden, like during wrestling shows, they sold it with a top hat. Like it was almost like a Cat in the Hat type top hat.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I remember begging my mom for cotton candy, and she wouldn't get it for us. But then one show we went and we got the cotton candy, and I put the hat on, and I was like, "Man, it'd be really cool if Buff Bagwell showed up." And some guy, some like adult, just yells out, he's in the crap company, pal. And I'm like, I'm 12.
What happens when you live in New York? I guess.
Seriously. He was an NWO for life, though, that guy. So,
Bro, hey, I didn't know they really meant for life when they said that, but bro, they meant for life for real.
yep.
Yeah.
Wow.
Tell
It's
us
been a
about
ride.
it, man.
Yeah. How'd you
Is
get
it-
involved in the NWO and all that? Like, what? Like, you were part of one of the biggest factions during one of the biggest times in wrestling. Like, just
Ever.
Yeah.
Dude, I really, as it happened, I really thought, well, it's going to be cool, to be in one of the coolest things that ever happened in wrestling, thinking that, something else was going to happen after the NWO. And of course, NWO would be like the Four Horsemen or something like that. One of the coolest things that ever happened in wrestling. Instead, it's still the coolest thing that ever happened in wrestling. And it really is. To tell you about it was, my memory for some reason is like tremendously great. I don't know how, but Salisbury, Maryland is where I was at. And Kevin Nash came into the locker room and goes, "Hey buddy, what's up, man?" And me and Kevin were friends from Atlanta because he was the number one bouncer in Atlanta. And I was kind of like the chick magnet in Atlanta. I was the party boy chick guy. And he was the bouncer at every top club because he was 7 foot 350. So he was number one bouncer at the Cheetah and then all the nightclubs that would open that were brand new. He'd be the guy they would hire for all the, because all the jacked up troublemakers would always show up to the cool clubs. And I was usually in the middle of that problem. And so he's kicked me out of several clubs where he had to. Like one time that I was in a white, it was called ZZ Cavarici was the name of the pants and stuff, like Levi. But it was the cheesiest outfits in the world, dude. And I had like a white one on with a jacket, and it's like the jacket just went right to your waist, like a bullfighter jacket, kind of with the V chest, and of course no shirt on, with white pants and white boots.
Yeah,
dude, a guy with white boots on, dude. I mean, with earrings in. I mean, what's this guy trying to do? But I pulled it off, And that's the catch with like the buff stuff and the top hat. I was able to pull things off, like talking in the camera and being me. It was just kind of cool.
Definitely.
And so, go ahead.
Oh no, by all means.
Oh, so Kevin Nash came in Salisbury, Maryland, and he said, "Hey, bro, you want to be in the NWO?" And I was like, "Are you kidding? Hell yeah, I do." So they came up with a deal where Eric was going to go out tonight. Eric went out and said, "You got 30 days to join the NWO, or you're fired." And then I was the first one out, with Scotty Riggs kind of trying to talk me out of it, and all that. And I joined the NWO that night and hit Scotty with like the rude awakening is really what I hit him with. But I was a big Rick Rude fan. And I wanted to use the neck breaker as a finish, but I didn't want to copy Rick. I wanted to make it my own. So me and Riggs, my first match as Buff Bagwell was sold out. NWO sold out for Cedar Rapids, Iowa. And that was the first time I had the Caesar cut, the choker, the armband, I pulled all the guns out on that one, and I hit Scotty for the first time with the Buff Blockbuster. And we actually practiced it in the hotel room. I never, ever, ever practiced it once in the ring until I hit him with it live on TV.
Wow.
fair.
He said, "You want to go over?" And I said, "Nah, man, we got it." I mean, damn. What it was. I had to flip over and grab his head and take him down. So I was like, dude, I'm big on not going over things. It just is what it is, And I was able to make it cool, or try to make it look cool, because I did do it the way it was. If I came out, for example, Eric Bischoff one day, we got that new logo that everybody hated, WCW logo. The new one that came out looks like a spaceship.
Yep.
They had it on the ramp. And they said, listen, you guys need to go out and check out the new logo because it's kind of slippery. And I don't want you guys to fall. Well, if Eric Bischoff, if you're one of the wrestlers and you're going live on Nitro, you're probably going to get up, walk out, and check that out if Eric Bischoff came and said that, right?
Yep.
Every wrestler did except me. And because if I went out and I fell, I would get up and fall again and go, did you see that? I just fell twice on live television. Great. I'd go back and fall and slip again, do it 3 times. So I just did things as they happen, bro, for real, straight up. And it got over, like I'd go to the camera and I didn't write none of that stuff down. I just went to the camera and said what came to my head. And it was funny because it was people, I think people could see that it wasn't planned. I didn't plan to say that, I just did what I thought people would laugh at. I called Norman Smiley. If you know Warren Moon, Norman Smiley does look like Warren Moon, the football player. And I remember saying that one time on TV. I was like, he looks like Warren Moon. And there's only a handful of guys Millwell's even talking about. But that handful of guys to this day will come up to my table and go, man, I remember one night when you called Norman Smiley Warren Moon. It was the best thing ever. So people remember, and we had a lot of fun with it, man.
That's hilarious. I can't unsee that now in my head. I just see Warren Moon doing the wiggle.
Right. I'm telling you, he looks like Warren Moon.
He really does.
He does.
Speaking of Eric Bischoff, you mentioned there. So I in doing our research for this interview, we came across a couple of like Buff Bagwell stories that are just outrageous that you won't believe. So I need to verify a couple of things.
Come on.
So number one, there was a rumor that you were supposed to replace Steve Mongo McMichael in the Four Horsemen. Was there any truth to that at all?
Not only is it not true, I've never even heard that before.
Oh,
so let me untrue that one that deep. That's the truth now. The Catch was my podcast. The reason why they're so good, and I told the guy this Tom when we did this the first night was, I said, what makes my podcast so good is I tell the truth. Mm-hmm. I said, you can go back and listen to every story I've ever told, and none of them sway differently. I mean, I've got a shoot my dad story that it's got so many intricate, detailed parts, and it's another unbelievable story. But what makes my podcast good, I think, is I had 2 crazy lives. I had a crazy, crazy childhood where my parents were filthy rich, and I was like the number 1 quarterback and number 1 baseball player, and they want to call jealousy in wrestling, they want to call that heat all of a sudden. I'm like, if we're calling it heat, I've had heat my whole life. When you come pulling up in a red Corvette at 15 years old, and you're the starting quarterback of the Sprayberry Yellow Jackets, that's heat.
Yellow Jackets.
Yeah, go Yellow Jackets. That's heat, bro.
Yeah.
But in Marietta, we called that jealousy. Don't hate me because I'm rich, pretty good looking guy, and I'm good at sports. Don't hate me for that. So you can only imagine how many times I got the old, Bagwell, you're actually pretty cool, man. Mm-hmm. You're because they automatically think, well, he's gonna be cocky and kind of an ugly guy and not cool and nice and especially kind. And they meet me and go, oh my God, dude, you're actually a really cool, nice guy. And I'm like, quit reading. This is when computers came out. I was like, quit believing what you read, bro. I go, I really am a good guy, So don't believe that stuff, man.
Yeah.
And Tom got to hear it firsthand.
And what's funny
how
is
nice
like
the guy was.
the number one thing that I've gotten from any interactions we've had on the phone is, holy shit. One, this is incredibly cool. Two, I think Buff and I are becoming best friends because he's just the nicest guy I've ever spoken to.
Thank you, man.
You're officially
You've
his
dedicated
nephew.
so much time and just, call just to shoot the shit. And I'm like, yeah, I love this. This is everything.
And to be truthful with you, bro, I'm like that with everybody because I just don't.
It's just me.
I just care, dude. I'm a good kid, man. I was raised right, and I was raised in a Southern family with a strong mother and a strong father, and all we're three boys, and I'm the youngest, and we just were raised right, and we, don't get me wrong, we were spoiled because we were rich, but we wasn't spoiled brats, dude. I kept my motorcycle clean. I kept my go-kart clean. I kept my stuff respected and took care of it that my parents bought me, and I respected our stuff, and my friends respected it because the way I did, and so it just I think it comes from your family, the way you were raised. And I was raised, I think, correctly, and my mom was a great mom.
Yeah,
definitely.
She was a cool chick.
She seemed it every bit on TV that we got to see. So.
She was, man. She was a trip. Bro, I remember the first time she spoke. She was she wasn't the Judy Bagwell at the lumber company that she ran for 17 years that I needed her to be. She would fire you if you didn't have a pen on you on the spot. Here's a woman running a lumber company in the 70s and 80s making $1 million a month.
Wow.
And she's telling truck drivers just to F off and get over there, and I'll be with you in a minute. There ain't a computer in sight because there wasn't any computers back then. It was ink pads and clipboards, and she made $1 million company out of this thing, man, a month. We were loaded. And it was because she was just such a hard worker. And my dad was a great businessman. He was the brains behind everything. And she was the workhorse behind it, man. And we just ran it hard, and they were really successful at it. And, but they raised us to really respect everything they gave us. And they just raised us right, So, she, but I lost her backstage. On her first appearance, we had Rick Steiner. That was Rick Steiner's idea, by the way. My mom's whole career was Rick Steiner's idea. And I don't know where he got it from. I don't know why he got it. And of all things, Scotty hated it because he didn't like women to be involved at all, period. So he goes, tell your mother to stay the hell away from me. And keep in mind, bro, there wasn't no girl versus girl matches back then. Yeah. There's only a few chicks on the show, period, if you think about it.
Yep.
Medusa, Scary Sherry. There was Missy Hyatt, who got me in the business. There was something like that, but there wasn't a lot, bro. So my mom, the idea that Rick Steiner had was we come back to Columbia and I turned to a full-fledged heel. Columbia's where I broke my neck. So when we went back, which is about 4 months later, I'm in my white overalls for the very first time ever in Columbia, that Nitro. And then, NWO shirt and all that, and the top hat and all that stuff. And she was to come out and kind of get on to me because I had turned heel. I was, Marcus, what are you doing? And kind of a mother getting on her son. But she wasn't doing it the way I wanted her to do it. She was nervous.
Yeah.
So when she got out there, her job was just to go to the apron, and she was not supposed to come in the ring, and she was to not get nowhere near Scott Steiner. So she's on the apron, and she's still not doing the Judy Bagwell at the lumberyard Judy. And so I had to go there to get her fired up. And so I said something that was true, and the crowd knew it was true the way I said it. and it was hard, and it really was heartfelt, but I had to do something to get her fired up. So I said, listen, old lady, I said, you couldn't eat without me, which was true at the time. I mean, they worked for me. Their son was their boss. And I said, listen, old lady, you couldn't even eat without me. And here she comes,
Oh
brother.
shit!
She comes through the robes, and I go, oh shit. And she goes towards Scotty. And I go, no. So Scotty about breaks her wrist. And then she comes over to me and open hand slaps me and grabs my ear, because she was a big smacker. She always smacks you if you got in trouble. Or she do this.
Yeah.
What'd you say? What'd you say, you little son of a bitch? And she grabbed me by the ear. For some reason, she's never done that ever. She grabbed me by the ear, and I sold it, of course, and went up the aisle by the ear. And what got her over was she threw me back into the go position. And for some reason, she turned and raised her hands to the crowd.
I remember all this perfectly, just how you're saying it. I remember watching it.
The people went crazy. So from that point on, dude, she was rode in, man, you know. So it was a lot of fun.
And I'll say this: I'm 33. I'll be 34 next month. You are never too old to get your ass kicked by your mother. That is a fact of life.
Absolutely. And, hey, bro, and we were little. If you were like one of my friends and hanging out with me, everybody got their ass whipped. Because she knew that it was probably everybody's problem. Everybody was involved. So it wasn't just me that got whipped or one of my friends. Everybody got their ass whipped with a shoe or something. Because she knew that we all were involved in it.
There's no blaming one person. You're all equally blamed.
Yeah, you're all getting your ass whipped. And she didn't care about parents and all that. So, you know, if their parents told on my mom, they were like, well, good, she should have did it. I'm glad she did do that. She needed to whip your ass. You know, my mom was the kind of mom, like if one of our wives was to go to my mom and go, you know, Mark slapped me or Mark hit me. My mom's the kind of mom that would go, well, what'd you do wrong? She wouldn't go like, oh my God, I can't believe you did that. Now, don't get me wrong. She would once she heard the story, but she also knew that her son didn't just slap his wife. There was a reason. So that's why she'd go, well, what'd you do wrong? What'd you do to him?
Mm-hmm.
Because she knows I just walk up and slap my wife on the couch for no reason. So, you know, that's the kind of mom, but she was old school, man, like that, you know, and she was just the coolest mom in the world, but she was just like she was on TV, man. She was a card.
Yeah.
Could she take Butterbean in a fight?
Absolutely. No, yeah.
I'll put it on Twitter.
With or without gloves. It don't matter. I'm telling you.
Bare knuckle boxing.
Dude, I mean, I'd put her in MMA. I put her up against Brock Lesnar tomorrow. I swear to God. And I'd really piss her off and throw her in that cage and then let her go. I'm telling you.
I could just picture Judy just peering through like the cage during an MMA fight, just calling you like a wimp or something.
Yeah.
There's millions watching.
We went to a toy thing where all the toy companies were there, and they sent like 5 of the top guys, you know, like it was like me, Goldberg, Nash, Sting. It was maybe 8 of us, and they flew us into this place like it was like a stage and a podium and about 150 vendors, like they did toys and stuff, and they wanted to pick our brains for ideas to do with our action figures and stuff. So like Bill goes first and Sting was second, somebody's third, maybe I'm 4th or 5th or something. I step up and they raise their hands and point at them, and the first person goes, when can we start making Judy Bagwell t-shirts? I'm like, I don't know, but I'll check on it. And I pointed to the next guy. He was like, so when can we start making action figures? I said, do you got any questions for me? And it was all about my mom. So I was like, damn, dude. So she was over, man.
Yeah.
She was a gem. WWE Hall of Famer Judy Bagwell.
Absolutely.
Need to make that happen.
I wish it could.
Do you keep up with the current landscape of wrestling?
Oh yeah, dude, I love AEW. I mean, AEW is the best, but you know, the Game Changers is great too, dude. I like a lot of their guys, but I just there's so many guys now that's over. It's a little bit hard coming from my generation, but like I love Matt Cardona. I think he's great, and he's been around a while anyway. But to me, he's like kind of new because you know I've not been in the scene very much, you know. But he's a cool guy. I dig him, and I was on their podcast. A couple weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago, I was on their podcast, and somebody brought it up that I was main on their podcast, and I go, bro, you see that number beside me? And they go, yeah. I want to say, they go, 13. I go, I'm number 13. I'm not main. You know, I used to ask guys all the time, what number are you? And they'd be like, I'm semi, or I'm main. I'll be like, look, bro, I'm asking for a reason. What fucking number are you? I'm trying to plan my hot stuff and getting warmed up properly. I don't care if you're main or not. What number are you? I'm before semi, you know. What number are you? You know, I'm asking for a reason. I'm timing it out for me to look as good as I can for the show, you know, and the fans. So I hate guys that do the I'm main. You know, shit, I was main one time and fired the next week. That's how much main means. Main don't mean shit. Main don't mean nothing.
Do you think the Buff Bagwell character would do better now with all the options in wrestling right now? You could take Buff Bagwell to Japan, you could take him to AEW, GCW, Ring of Honor, all this stuff. Do you think Buff Bagwell would do better in today's modern time rather than back in the 90s?
I think Buff would do good anywhere that would give him a chance. The catch is, you got to realize how long it took me for the WCW guys to accept me. But once they knew Mark Bagwell, and y'all are talking to Mark Bagwell right now. Mm-hmm. Once they knew Mark Bagwell, dude, I couldn't do no wrong. The problem is, when I went to WWF, nobody knew Mark Bagwell, bro. Nobody knew Mark Bagwell. Nobody. And so all I was a threat, and everybody believed everything on the internet about me bad. That I was hard to deal with, that I was unprofessional, that I was a drunk, pillhead, and just every single thing they could possibly dream up and make up, they did. I mean, from my mom got me out of shows. What is that even? I'm trying to think if I ever even have thought of doing that, much less 2 weeks in the WWF.
That's what Jim Ross was saying, right?
Yes. That's why me and Jim had so much heat. I was like, dude, you just told a barefaced lie. You called me and told me to stay home. But the problem is, it was on a Wednesday. And it was me, him, and God was there. That's it. Mm-hmm. So God ain't going to show up at no WWF meeting with me. And the fans are not going to believe me over Jim Ross. Mm-hmm. So I'm never going to win it. But then it got to be, well, his match was bad. Well, there's two things behind both those stories. Number one, is either one of them bad enough to get fired over? Mm-hmm. Even if they were true, do you fire Marcus Bagwell over his mom calling? Or do you say, hey, your mother called, tell her not to call no more? And that's if she did call. I know for a fact she didn't, but along the way, I started saying to people, because they asked so much. I go, well, let's pretend like she did call. So what? I'd be like, Mom, I'm sorry she called and I didn't tell her to do it, and she won't do it no more. And I'd cuss her out and tell her not to do it no more. And if you had a match that they wasn't happy for, that they didn't give us no finish to, then that they blamed themselves for, which all the guys like you guys even don't know that story. When we're backstage, Pat Patterson and Laurinaitis walked up to us and they go, look, it's really our fault for not coming up with a finish for you guys. And you guys, Pat thought that I was doing the finish, and I thought Pat was doing the finish because he does all the main events. And so nobody talked to us about what to do and how to do it, or what kind of match they wanted out of us, or nothing. We just gave them a Booker T Buff Bagwell match, which we'd only done about 1,000 times before. Me and Booker. I mean, with Too Cold, with Stars and Stripes, American Males. I mean, me and Booker wrestled 1,000 times and never missed a spot. The match that was so horrible, watch it back, not one mistake, not one slip. It was not a bad match. It wasn't a great match, but it wasn't a bad match. And it just was and it's in Tacoma. The next week was Atlanta. I mean, the whole thing was like a setup to fail, you know?
Yeah.
And so it's just, you know, it's just unfortunate. But to answer your question, it would be tough anywhere with the word that spread so bad about me for so long. But if the guys gave me a chance, like watching this podcast, or like what Tom has done by hearing me on the phone and being nice and knowing truly how Mark Bagwell is, and just giving me a chance to fit in a little bit, I think everybody would love me and like they used to, you know. I mean, everybody loved me and loved Mark Bagwell. I mean, I had an 11-year career at WCW because everybody loved me. And then all of a sudden I went to Vince and I was fired in 2 weeks, you know. So, you know, nobody knew me there. You know, they just believed what they read and just kind of looked at me like a threat. And that's what I was. And if I came in, I was going to take somebody's job. And so it wasn't like they were like, hey, come on in and take our job away. Glad to see you, troublemaker, you know? So, you know, it's just, but I think I'll fit in anywhere. They just gave me a couple of weeks, you know, to fit in. I would come in, dude. But then again, I came in like this at WWF, dude. I came in like walking on eggshells and was hated within moments. And I came in doing everything right. And then I slapped Shane Helms. And then I was like, there you go again, Bagwell. You've done it again. So I was like, God dang it, dude. And I think that's what got the ball rolling on. You know, he is like he was, and let's just get rid of him. So they had to get rid of somebody big to make an impression. And firing Buff Bagwell in Atlanta, Georgia is pretty good. And I think the locker room went, wow, they just fired Buff Bagwell in Atlanta. You know, I don't care how bad you hate Buff Bagwell or like Buff Bagwell, but he just got fired in Atlanta, Georgia. We may need to kind of regroup and start getting along here because Vince ain't playing. Yeah. And you know, so, you know, it just, it was a rough hit, bro. Because I mean, bro, it cost me millions, man. Think about it. My career was over at 30, and I made it go 18 more years with you know, with the indie thing, and made a great career out of it. And I'm still making a great career out of it, but it could have been so much bigger and better. And I used to get down about that, you know, years and years ago, but now it's just, it is what it is, and it's gone. And then I'm here now and positive about where I'm at, and great for the opportunity to be on y'all's podcast and other podcasts, and just just glad to be back, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think with like the tarnished relationship with WWF, WWE, do you think there would ever be a time where that would be like mended and we can see Buff Bagwell Hall of Famer?
I mean, truthfully, no, I don't. But I'd love to have it. But like even recently, bro, right before I started rebuilding Buff Podcast, right before I started doing this show with Dallas called Change or Die, I called them to go to rehab and they turned me down.
I heard that.
I'm the only dude that's ever the only worker that's ever worked for WWE or WWF that has been turned down to go to rehab. There's guys that's gone 6 and 8 times and they paid for it. And they didn't pay for me once. So I just rebuilt me myself. And then I got to Dallas and then Dallas helped me, you know. But, you know, I'd already started it myself. And I said, look, I don't need them. I'll rebuild myself, period. And I'll show the fans that I'm back, you know. And I'm gonna show them that I'm really, truly trying. And then right when I started that, Dallas started this show and it just fit right in.
Wow.
Crazy.
As just to touch back on the match between you and Booker T, I watched it back earlier this week, and I think what gives it such a bad rap to so many people is it's similar to what you'll see on Twitter. You have your pure WWE people, you have your pure AEW people, and they're not going to be changed. It's Wednesday night when we're recording this, and they're doing anything but going near a Turner channel. And so I think when that match happened, it was the equivalent of like the Georgia Bulldogs went and played a home game on the University of Alabama's campus. Nobody cared, you know. And so, and I think that definitely played a factor into it. But like you said, watch it back, and it's a fantastic match, you know. So
it's a pretty good match. I want you to do something else for me the next time you ever watch it, if you happen to. Mm-hmm. And by me telling you this, I bet you do after you hear what I say. Right before I came out for that match that night, here I am, Buff Bagwell at my peak, at my top. I'm at Monday Night Raw. I'm working for the WWF. WCW's gone, and I'm main event on Monday Night Raw, bro. And here we go, right? But in the back of me and Booker's head is, why are they doing this in Tacoma and not waiting for Atlanta? So we wasn't feeling all warm and fuzzy about being main event, by no means. We were worried about it because now, did I think I was going to be fired the next week? No. But I knew it wasn't good that we were in Tacoma and them not waiting 7 days to do Atlanta. But if you watch the match back the next time, I want you to try to, if you got like an hour to kill one day or 30 minutes or so, watch the previous couple of matches, like maybe the last few Nitro matches, or so there's a pretty big gap between my last few matches at WCW and me and Booker's match, I'm thinking. But watch the last few matches you can watch of Buff Bagwell and watch how much I talk into the camera on those matches. And then watch the Booker T match and watch how many times I talk into the camera. And the number is 0.
Jeez.
Because I was told right before I went out not to talk into the camera by Shane McMahon. My music was playing and I go to walk out and a hand stops me. And Shane goes, I forgot to tell you, but you can't talk into the camera. Well, surely you guys know what I know. He didn't just forget to tell me and accidentally catch me as I walked through the curtain. He did that on purpose, bro.
Yep.
That was on purpose, and it threw me totally off. I can't look in the camera. I said, Shane, that's all I do, brother. I said, I look in the camera, I pose, I laugh and cut up in the camera. I hit the blockbuster, and I got a little top hat. That's all I do. And he goes, can't do it, bro. So watch the match back. I never look in the camera once.
Wow.
It had been 2 years that I'd not looked in the camera, and I couldn't look at. So I'm coming down the aisle like this.
Disappointing.
Scared to death to look into the camera because I was scared I'd get fired. So I'm trying to dodge the camera. I'm going, and I was so uncomfortable trying not to look in the camera because it was just all over me and I didn't know what to do. I wanted so bad to go grab it and just go, I'm Buff and I'm the stuff, you know, but I was told not to. So you tell me that was just not, that wasn't planned? Come on, man. They knew I talked into the camera. They knew it for sure.
How dare you try and get over?
Yeah, don't you
How
dare
dare you
do
try to do
it.
a dance crowd?
We're doing this match to show that this is not going to work. You better not get over out there.
How dare
So
people
they
watch
booed
us?
They booed us out of the building, and I didn't look at the camera once. It was weird. It was very weird.
I'd still give it 5 stars. You know, just out of the surrealness of it. You know.
Yeah, I mean, think about it, dude. The first match of the invasion. I mean, that's a cool. I mean, it's like I had the coolest kind of negative career ever. You know, it was like one time I was at a show and I was a heel for some reason against Raven. I think it's just where we were at in Ohio, and I was a heel, and they were kind of booing me and dogging me a little bit. So I worked heel, you know, against Raven in Cleveland, Ohio. And so it got kind of quiet, and I was on the floor working Raven's leg against the pole, and it got kind of quiet, and the guy goes, Buff Bagwell works one time on the WWF. And boy, the crowd went, ooh. And I was like, wow, that was really good. What am I going to do to top that? So keep in mind, I'm working as I'm thinking like this, and I'm going, oh my God, what am I going to say to fix that? And I gotta say something when the crowd comes down. So the crowd goes from ooh, and when it dips down, I'll turn to the guy and I go, that's one more than you, motherfucker. And
the crowd
went,
went, ooh.
And the crowd
Right
went, Buff, 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 Buff.
They had the double turn that night.
Dude, I don't know. Thank God he put that in my head because I needed something really good. And you know me, I always just go to the truth. It's usually the best route to go. And I went, just tell the truth. And I went, that's one more than you, motherfucker. And it was the truth, you know. It worked. It worked. The crowd was like, yeah, Buff, Buff, Buff.
God.
So crazy life, crazy.
So speaking of the truth, I do have one more rumor that I'd like to either dispel or prove. So I read that there was a pitch that Eric Bischoff made that he wanted you to fake your own death.
Like a plane crash or something?
Yeah, like a plane crash, and you'd return at Halloween Havoc. What the hell was he smoking to think about this?
When he got asked about this, I didn't see the podcast. I heard about it. He denied it supposedly and kind of blamed me for making it up or something. But I'll be honest with you, I don't think I'm smart enough to come up with something that crazy. I mean, I really don't. I mean, I can't even make up something that weird. I mean, think about it. That's pretty wild.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make up that I'm gonna fake my plane crash, and I'm gonna start this rumor about a plane crash that I die, and I'm gonna come back as a ghost on wires, coming down toward the ring at Halloween Havoc.
Yeah,
I don't think I can make that up, bro. If you know me, and so. But I'm not kidding. It's been so long though.
Mm-hmm.
When it came back to me that Eric kind of put the heat on me, I kind of was like, I mean, that did happen, right? And I caught myself like shaking my head, going, "Of course it did." He said that he was going to act like my plane wrecked, and he was going to do it with me or Eddie Guerrero. And I remember Eddie being involved somehow, but I do remember vividly him talking about, and he was going to bring me down by wires as a ghost into the ring. And I mean, that's a 100% true story that Eric came up with on the private jet one day going to some Nitro.
And that's why we love
and when I went back to him, he said, I said, dude, I need to know, bro, because I need to tell my parents, that this ain't real and all that. So they don't worry about this, because they're already still freaked out a little bit about the broke neck thing,
Oh.
And he said, no, he goes, dude, it's too deep. He said, I thought about it, and it's just too much. He goes, we're not going to do it. I said, okay. I was kind of like, thank God. Because I thought it was just too far out,
What scares me is I'm very superstitious. Why would he have that thought on a plane? Like, I would not want to think about a plane wreck while I'm on a plane. That's the last place I want to think about a plane wreck.
Well, me too. But we flew so much back then that it flying didn't scare none of us, because we just, we had flown so much. But still, it is a weird place to come up with it. But he, it's been so long, I don't even remember why or what the idea was, or I just remember, when Eric Bischoff's talking on a private jet, you just kind of listen, you know what I'm saying? I mean, you're on a private jet, that everybody's kind of going, your Lex Luger's, your Dallas Pages, and we're all kind of looking at each other like, who's gonna talk first, Eric? Then finally Eric would say something like, so what do you guys think about last week? And then we'd all kind of start slowly talking to Eric after about 30 minutes, but at first we're all on a private jet, just like going, and everybody's just kind of quiet. Scotty, of course, is asleep on the luggage in the back, but Luger, me, and Dallas, and whoever else was with us, Rick or Goldberg, whoever was in Atlanta, first class ticket guys that lived in Atlanta got the private jet. And it wasn't because we were cool or anything. It was just because he was trying to save money. He took the first class tickets and got us a private jet and made us look cool. And so when a limo picked us up, and we'd show up to the building, and the bad part was we're getting out of the limo, and the guys in catering, of course, a limo pulls up. They're all looking to see who the hell it is. They're unshaved. They're a little bit white from the weekend. We get out freshly shaved, jacked up from working out, tan to death and back. And we're trying to hide from everybody in catering, but not let Eric see us trying to hide. You know what I'm saying? Because we don't want to see the balls. We don't want to be with the boss with the guys in catering.
Yeah.
But then again, we don't want the boss to see us being ashamed to be with the boss. So we're like going, and we're trying to hide behind each other, and then there's Eric, and then we're trying to hide again, and it was just a real uncomfortable situation, man. It was wild.
I can only
But
imagine.
it was a really big heat to show up with Eric Bischoff and a limo to Nitro, and everybody been on the road all week.
Yeah.
We can blow up in a limo, 2 hours from showtime. So it was obviously heat.
I just think back to who you were with back then. Like, that was my child. I'm like, Dave, I'm 33. Like, my growing up, you were with and a part of the most influential people in wrestling, honestly, in wrestling history. Like,
Yep.
you had the Hogans, the Savages, the Lugers, the Stings, the Dallases, the Buffs, the Steiners. Scott Hall,
Your Bam
Lynn
Bam
Nash,
Bigelow's, your Eddie Guerrero's, your Rick Rude, your Kurt Hennings, your Ric Flairs, your Roddy Pipers.
It's
I mean,
insane.
dude, I just think when people say, what was your favorite match? I'm like, are you kidding? How can I possibly say I beat Roddy Piper and Ric Flair back to back, bro?
Mm-hmm.
And then next week was Atlanta. and David Flair beat me in front of 80,000 people. David Flair couldn't run the ropes then.
Yeah.
And he beat me in front of 80,000 people.
God.
I mean, it was so depressing. And not for me, I was depressed for the fans, the people that bought tickets. That when Buff Bagwell came out, the roof came off the place, and then Buff Bagwell gets beat in the middle by a kid that can't run the ropes.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't even go to Eric with that. When I got the finish of that, I went to Rick. I went straight to Flair. And I just had beat Flair about 2 weeks previous. And I said, Rick, do you really think David's ready for this, bro? And he came out with the craziest horseshit story in the world that I just kind of muted him 10 seconds into it.
Yep.
And just said, okay, cool, man. And walked out and left because it just was none of what he said happened. And it was just stuff. They always tell you these things they're going to give you back when you do a job like that. And nothing he said happened that was supposed to happen back to me. All that happened was 80,000 people got robbed out of their money by seeing Buff Bagwell get beat in Atlanta, Georgia, when they really wanted to see me win. They wanted to see me win badly. I mean, as I was walking back to the go position, the things I were hearing that were piercing my brain were saying things like, don't worry about it, Buff. They're messing with you, man. Don't worry about it. They're just not pushing you. We know you deserve the push. And I mean, it was just constantly that stuff was hammering my brain. And the go position got further and further away. And I couldn't get there fast enough, dude. I am almost wanting to run to it because these things are hitting my ears. I'm hearing all of them, and they're just piercing my brain. And because I know they're the truth, and they're just killing me. And all I can do is just suck it up. Don't sell it like you don't ever do in wrestling, and go back and be happy you're making $1 million a year. You know, and just go, okay, you guys next week.
Yeah. Oh, so with all those like icons of wrestling, is there like, I'm not saying can you go back and have a match? Like, is there a match that like with anyone from back in the day, the heyday, that like dead or alive? Because, you know, unfortunately, a lot of people, you know, from that generation are passing, that you would love to say in a dream world, you know, you're both in the perfect shape you've ever been in, that you'd love to go one more match against?
Rick Rude.
Yeah.
Ooh, solid choice.
I never beat Rick. And I wrestled him a couple of times as him as the world heavyweight champion. And we had great chemistry. That's why I liked him so much. And I mean, we had great chemistry. And the problem with me was, back as Marcus Alexander Bagwell before Too Cold, was I was a good looking kid. I had a good body. And I was really one of the best listener, can do the move guys in the business, even as a rookie. I was really, really good as Marcus Alexander. Look back at some Marcus Alexander Bagwell matches, bro. I was pretty freaking good. And I could do everything to get the pros called to me. I could do it. And so instead of them beating somebody that didn't look good, and it wasn't like a name, they had to put somebody had to put Root over a big name. I fit in that perfect put over the guy spot. And so I put everybody over all the time as Marcus Alexander Bagwell, because I could do all the moves. I'd made the guy look good. I at least looked like I was in shape. So the guy beat somebody, and I just fit that role perfectly. And Dusty was right. He said, Mark, he goes, this ain't gonna bother you at all, bro. He said, trust me, when we turn around and push you, people ain't going to remember about us beating you like this. He said, you just got to ride this wave a little bit and we'll figure something out. And I trusted him, and it was true. You know, I wrestled Benoit one night, and when I came back from the ring, he came threw his headset off, walking toward us, and I'm like, oh my God! And I knew me and Chris had tore the house down at center stage. Chris's first match there, of course, they put him with me to put him over, and it was his first match with us when he had the zebra print black and white tights. His first match with us, and he was real stiff with me. So it was my first time ever giving a guy a receipt. I remember.
Yeah.
I thought, okay, when my comeback comes, bro, that was a little bit stiff, and I'm gonna get it back. And so I came back with my comeback, bro. I came back and threw my clothesline right at his head, you know, and it was a damn good match. And so here comes Dusty almost running at us. And he gets right up to me and he goes, you didn't tell me you could wrestle. What? He goes, you didn't tell me you could wrestle, brother. And I said, well, I just assumed you thought I knew how to wrestle. I'm working for World Championship Wrestling, you know? And he goes, I know about it. He said, I didn't know you could wrestle like that. I said, and the truth is, I didn't know either. Chris was calling things, and I said, Chris, I don't know what that means. I said, just show me, and I can do it. So we were doing like the fish out of the water and the so-and-so this and the so-and-so that. No, I didn't know any of the words. I just knew I was athletic enough I could do it.
Yeah.
So we did all the great, cool, nice moves and stuff, and had the clothesline block punch comebacks, and we just had a damn good match. And just Dusty instantly put me with Too Cold after that match, and then me and Too Cold had the big run.
One of the things that came up for me was the gimmick of the handsome stranger, a stripper and kissing bandit. I had never heard of this, Buff, and I just like when I read a handsome stripper kissing bandit. I mean, where the hell does that come from, man?
Do you know who came up with that gimmick?
No.
You ready? Bill Eadie.
Jeez.
One of the baddest guys on the face of the planet come up with, I thought, one of the stupidest gimmicks on the face of the planet. And
that's the best.
And it ends up being all the guys end up loving it. And the fans too. And it was actually pretty cool. And that's where I really learned the craft of pro wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
I learned that, I learned how to wrestle there. Wrestling's hard, bro. It's really hard to make wrestling look good, because it's just not because I'm in the business, because it really is hard. It's, you got to have, like, for example, if I threw Ric Flair a football today, there's no way he could throw a spiral back to me. There's no way he could throw a curveball for a strike. Mm-hmm. He's not that he's not an athlete like that, but he's the best pro wrestler on the face of the planet. Wrestling is a different thing, bro. You got to have some charisma. You got to have some athleticism. You got to have some swag. You got to have some looks. You got to have a good outfit. You got to have a good name. You got to have a good look. It's just a lot, man, that goes on with it, bro. And I'm not just saying it because I'm in the industry. I'm just being straight up with you. It's the hardest thing I've ever done in my life to become big at it. It's really hard. And it's something that I respect very much because of it, and and it was fun doing it. It was fun getting over, and it was fun being Buff and seeing the crowd just go crazy because I was coming out, and going from that to, everybody in the whole city of Baltimore booing me as Marcus Alexander Bagwell to everybody in the city of Baltimore loving Buff
That's where Nick's from, right?
I grew up going to the Capitol Center, like not unlike Dave here, who was going to Madison Square Garden as a WWE guy, WWF. I was the NWA, WCW, Capitol Center, Baltimore Arena.
Baltimore Arena, bro. Baltimore
Love it.
Arena. The Baltimore Arena was, I had gotten really good at being buff. And we had a house show. And Sting had been watching me get good. And he got about 5 top guys, which came with about 10 not top guys that watched my match. It was just a house show match. And dude, I knew that everybody was watching, so I went out and just I let Buff like totally cut loose. And I really became buff in that match even more than ever. And somewhere in there, I did the Buff strut, the big strut. And I get to the back and they're all just rolling, laughing. All the guys are. And they're like, man, you've got that down, bro. That's so great. And they're all putting me over. And I'm like, thanking everybody, and Jim Duggins and Nasty Boys and Sting and Lugers. And I'm going, I said, thank you guys. Thanks so much, And Sting goes, man, where did you get that dance thing you did? I go, what? He goes, that thing you did. I go, I don't know what you're talking about. So I literally had to get somebody that taped the show and watch my match back and see what he was talking about that I did and recreate it. I didn't even know I did it. I just did it. Just being crazy. Me just being buff, and I just went out and did this damn dance, and it was kind of funny. And I saw it back and thought it was good. So I made it part of my deal, at the Baltimore Arena. I sat in the front row and drank a beer with a guy. I mean, I was totally buff on that match, man.
Oh man. So Buff, one of our things here on the broadcast, we have our very own Patreon page. And so one of the perks this month for being a patron, where people can join patreon.com/WNRDB, we gave them all an opportunity to ask a question for you.
Right.
But so I'm not going to ask these questions. The former commissioner of the broadcast, Mr. Harold the Puppet, is back, everyone.
Whoa,
Right.
baby, welcome back to me, Harold the Puppet. I hope you guys are having a great time.
So glad you're back, Harold.
Oh, Buff, that means the world to me. You don't even know. So some of our friends in our Patreon group had some questions for you. And let's see if we can get through some of them, if that's all right.
Let's do it.
My friend, Matthew Rudd, he said, hey, Buff, what was your mindset when you found out that you were turning heel and joining the NWO?
I thought it was a big, big mistake, and that I could have really been like the biggest WCW star. So yeah, dude, I'm telling you, I think they really, Harold, I think they really messed up there, bro. That was during Desert Storm. And, there were fighter pilots that were writing me letters in the hospital that would touch my picture before going to fight for our country. And instead they turned me heel. My parents were physically upset. My family was physically upset, but I was like, guys, I got to do what the company says I got to do, So I think it was a mistake. I think they should have turned me a baby and let me be a baby face, and I'd have been really over as a baby.
Wonderful, wonderful answer, Buff. My next question comes from another good friend of mine, Jason Rich. He asks, do you have any great Dusty Rhodes stories from your time training with him?
When he hired me, he talked with a little bit of lisp, and he said, Marcus Alexander Bagwell, he said, I just love that name. I said, Dusty, I want a gimmick or some kind. Yeah, he said, no, he said, we're gonna call you Marcus Alexander Bagwell, baby. He said, and your teeth are so white and so pretty. He said, you from Marietta, Georgia, the rookie, it'll work, baby, it'll work. And so to me, that was the best story because I just had met Dusty Rhodes, and he actually hired me. So it was really cool that he thought so I got hired because my teeth were white.
That goes right in to my other friend, my best friend, Jared Myers. He asked, hey, Buff Daddy, how do you keep those teeth so sparkly white?
I can't get all the secrets out. Let's just say and I am the stuff.
He brushes.
Toothpaste.
Yeah, toothpaste works.
It does. Does wonders.
Does wonders.
So the one and only Lemonhead, Joseph Clegg, he asks, have you ever had a conversation with Pro Wrestling Tees about getting a Buff Bagwell micro brawler made?
Yes, we're in the process of getting those now.
Oh.
Breaking news.
Breaking news.
Yes.
Those can get highly sought after very quickly.
Yeah, dude. I really think those are really cool, dude.
Yep. I mean, you talk about Matt Cardona. He and his lovely wife Chelsea, they had their own wedding micro brawlers made. So
those are the absolute coolest little dolls. Two Coles got one. Yep. And I saw that and I was like, dude, I gotta be one of those, man. They're the coolest little dolls, man.
They are.
Hey, we could have you back on, Buff, because Nick started the micro brawler group. We have 1,200 people in the group. If you get brawlers, we'll have you back on, sign them, sell them.
That picture behind you is the best drop kick in the history of time of either company. It's the best drop kick in the world. Telling you, bro, it is. That is perfectly. That's a great picture, man.
Yeah,
perfection right there.
Perfectly horizontal.
I like this too, right there.
Oh yeah, the blue jean.
Yeah.
Look at that. I mean, he's not got his vampire. Don't got his hand up. me and the cat right there had just had a real fight in the locker room, and they had to come out and fake wrestle. Swear to God on my life.
There's that too. That's funny.
There you go.
It's perfect.
Yeah, it's a good one.
So we are getting them. What's that, Harold? Oh no, I was just saying we're getting a Buff Bagwell brawler eventually, and I can't wait. Cannot wait.
I'm gonna spend all of my money on Buff Bagwell brawlers. Tom, my human, is gonna be so poor. It's ridiculous.
We ranked them all last year. We ranked them all last year, so we'll have to see where you wind up on the countdown at the end of this year.
I appreciate it, bro. Number one.
Well, I mean, number one is Macho Man, Macho King Randy Savage. So the competition is stiff with that one. I'm
about to say, dude, my Macho's. I mean, come on, man. I mean, it's just God. Just imagine wrestling the Macho Man. What you feel like? I'm like, is this happening? And then it's just you're in the ring with Macho Man Randy Savage. It was incredible. I had a great career, dude. A fun, great career.
Now, speaking of your career, one of the big questions that our friend Don Wilson from the great Canada North, he asks, hey, Buff, how did the Judy Bagwell on a pole match come to be? And what was it like working with your mother in wrestling?
That always confused me how we put it on a forklift and they called it somehow. They got switched to Judy Bagwell on a pole match. I never quite understood that, but it was just always Judy Bagwell on a forklift match. But I don't know who came up with it. It wasn't me. I don't know whose idea it was, but I just knew back then you didn't ask why too much because there was just so much going on with who was running the company and stuff. So it was just kind of tough,
It must have
But
been so cool though, having your mom there all the time.
But it was real fun working with my mom though.
Amazing. So, speaking of moms, one thing moms are always great at is hugging. And Dave's sister, the magnificent Margaret, she says, "Hey Buff, if you could hug one person in the whole world, who would it be?"
Pamela Anderson.
This guy gets it.
She's
This
probably
is-
a good hugger, right?
I think we'd
I
all.
think you broke me. Hold on.
Harold, are you okay?
Harold, you okay?
Yeah. That was just such a matter of fact, accurate answer. So back to the question. My friend Dennis Day Jr., he says, "Buff, you have won so many World Championship Wrestling tag team titles with so many different partners. 2 Gold Scorpio, The Patriot, Scotty Riggs, and Shane Douglas. Who was your favorite championship tag team partner and why?"
Dude, that's a toughie, man. I can't.
I know, Dennis.
I really had something special with each and every one of them. I really did. From rest his soul, Dale Wilkes, I had a great run with. Too Cold was at that particular time was humongous. I kind of created everything we had with Scotty Riggs, but he listened and learned so much. I was kind of the veteran with him, but he listened and was just as good as I was, and we were good friends. Norton was kind of the veteran over me, but we all had such good relationships, bro. I just enjoyed them all. I love Shane Douglas. We're still good friends, and so really just all of them I love, man. I didn't have a favorite. Lex were tag team champs too, bro. Totally buffed. So really, to be honest with you, Harold, let me tell you something you don't know. I'm actually a 6-time champion with 5 different partners, and nobody in the world has ever done that, ever.
That's why you're the stuff.
It's 6 times. It's twice with Dell, Too Cold, Scotty Riggs, Lex Luger, and number 6 is Shane Douglas.
Oh.
6 with 5 different guys.
Sounds like a Hall of Fame career to me, if you ask me. Just saying.
Bro, hey, I've never had anybody beat it. I don't ever say it's the best. I ask people, if you can prove me wrong on this podcast, and nobody ever has. I think I'm the only dude, the only wrestler to ever have 6 world titles with 5 different partners.
It's just so Buff. That is just so cool. And I think it's a really good segue here into a completely unrelated question to my friend JP Hooper. He asked, "Well, Buff Bagwell has quite the number of moves. What inspired the Buff strut?"
Like I told you guys earlier, man, I don't know. It just happened, and I had to watch it back to see what the hell I did even. So it just came from something inside of me, just wanted to do something kind of wacky and some kind of crazy thing, and out come the Buff strut.
Okay. I have one more question from our Patreon members. And this goes to the Hodap Hello, Jonathan Hodap. It's a little bit of a long one, so be patient with me, please. Jonathan Hodap says, "You always hear stories from different wrestlers and office personnel about your time in WWE. But if you could do anything different with your time there, what would you have liked to have done? Hold on. What would you have liked to do that you felt you didn't have the chance to do?" And he also says he loves the gimmick of Buff Bagwell and thought the sky is the limit.
Well, so did I, until they fired me in Atlanta. But if I had anything to do over, it'd been not to slap Shane Helms, because that kind of, I think, I think the whole thing was already happening in Tacoma. It was already kind of set what they were going to do, I think. And then when I did the Shane Helms thing, I think it just kind of finished it off, you know. But guys, I am starving to death. I gotta let you guys roll. But man, I really enjoyed Harold. I enjoyed being on the Yo-Yo's podcast, and you guys are fantastic, super fans and super great guys. And I really, really appreciate your time, man. I'm just starving to death. I gotta get checked.
We appreciate your time, Buff. Is there anything you wanted to plug before we let you go?
Absolutely, man. Try to check out my podcast, Rebuilding Buff. And it's really getting good, and we do a very good job too, and we have a good time, and we're on all the major platforms. Just try to look us up. But if you need to find out exactly how to get to us or anything like that, go to my website. Covers everything, all my social media, everything. And it's MarcusBuffBagwell.com, MarcusBuffBagwell.com, and it shows my calendar, it shows my schedule. It shows everything I do, just check it out, and it'll guide you to my Twitter, to my social media stuff, everything, Instagram, Facebook, to where I'm at every week. So it's a great website, and it really, really keeps up my schedule real good.
Yes. So everyone, please make sure we'll link that in the comment section below. You can check us out on Facebook and on all our social media platforms, Facebook and Twitter at WNRDB, Instagram, The Wrestling Nerd Broadcast, Patreon, patreon.com/WNRDB, and of course, ProWrestlingTees.com/The Wrestling Nerd Broadcast. And of course, most importantly, right here on YouTube, make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already. So that is going to do it for episode 67 of the Wrestling Nerd Broadcast. Buff, we thank you so much for coming on. This was an absolute blast, sir.
Awesome.
Thank you guys so much.
This was great. So on behalf of the one and only Buff Bagwell, Nick Carpenter, Ryan Crossley, Harold the Puppet, and Tom Sasso, I've been Dave Cannon, the king of the nerds, reminding you to tell your mother you love her every day because like Kevin Durant said, Mama, you're the real MVP. Good night, everyone, and God bless America.